everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Nairi, and if you haven't subscribed before, then please take the time to. My channel is all about helpful tips, advice, support, and I'm the adopter of 2 boys. And today I'm going to do a review on a couple of books that I think are really helpful for adopted children. And they're not the normal choices that you would expect. I think there are a few books out there about children becoming adopted and the process that goes through and using animals and characters to do that. But these books are not around how the child has become adopted and what adoption means. These books are actually around therapeutic type parenting and helping them with their identity and their sense of belonging. So the first book that I have for you is The Crocodile Who Didn't Like Water. Now, the thing about this book is what's really lovely about it is it helps children to understand that different is okay. And when children learn that they're adopted, or even if they don't know they're adopted, they may feel a little bit different and they may feel that they need some reassurance around that. So The Crocodile Who Didn't Like Water is all about a crocodile who actually is not a crocodile. He's actually a dinosaur or a dragon. And it's a very, very simple story, but as you can see, the little white egg there represents him. And it goes through how his friends and family do not enjoy the same things as him, and particularly the fact that he doesn't like water. And I'm just giving you a flavour of the pages here. He ends up, in the end, trying to get his own rubber ring to help him to enjoy the water, and that doesn't work either. What you can teach the child is that if they are different, that does not mean to say that there's anything wrong with that, and actually they'll have their own purpose. So it says he was born to breathe fire. And I think when children are adopted, or from my experience with the boys, that actually sometimes they do feel different, and even though they know that they're adopted, they don't always want to share that with their friends. And you may find that there may be some identity issues with your children, and what you can do is just explain that they may be different from you, they may look different from you, but they will have their own skills and they'll have their own identity. And in the end, the dragon was able to carry the rest of the crocodiles, as you see in the hot air balloon. So that's a really lovely story. The other one I have for you is Lost and Found. This has a really special story with it for me, which I'll explain to you later. Lost and Found is not so much about the fact that they were lost before they were adopted and then found. It's about a sense of belonging and not feeling lonely. So slightly different from the identity. It's not about being different. It's what happens is the little boy finds the penguin on his doorstep. Oliver Jeffreys is a really lovely writer anyway, if you come across him. So the penguin starts off on the boy's doorstep, but the boy thinks that the penguin is lost, so he tries to get him back to where he should be. So we go through the whole journey. There's a storm, they go through the storm, and he finally gets him back to the South Pole and leaves him there. And then toward the end, he realizes that he is lonely without the penguin, and they find each other again. And the story is all about that sense of belonging, which is also crucial for an adopted child to feel that they don't have to be lonely. And I think what's nice about this one as well is that you can almost put a reflection on it, that you as an adopter were seeking them out and found them, and that you need each other, because it's not just that the penguin was lonely, it's that the boy was lonely too. And I think that's a really lovely slant on that. And the story about this book is actually, if you've seen any of my other videos, that boys that we fostered went off for adoption and that didn't work out. And they had to come back to us, but they had a lot of unanswered questions. So we actually used Lost and Found and wrote a little message in there saying, we remember reading this story to you. And we sent this book over to the adopters who had the boys, who were not going to keep the boys, with a letter saying, we kind of put it in a way that it was partly our fault that the adoption broke down, which of course it wasn't, but we needed to make it into a child-friendly story. So we sent it to the adopters with a letter and said to the boys, we didn't think we were going to be the family for you, but actually we were the family for you, and we realised that we really need you and we really need you back. And that's the way we helped that transition of the boys coming back to us, and they would have remembered that this story. And you'll see on one of my other videos about transitional objects, books can act as that as well. So this book went over to the other household before they came back to us, and it worked really well in that respect. My other point to you would be, my final tip to you would be, is that when you have an adopted child, they will come with a life story book, but don't get too excited about the life story book. It will have the life story in it, and it will have a lot of details, and there might be some stuff in there that even you didn't know. So someone will put that together for you. They might work with the child with a foster carer beforehand, or they might actually do it quite late in the process, just before they're getting adopted. But ours is literally a ring binder with lots of laminated sheets in there with different pictures from when the boys were born, and lots of it is not something that I'd want to share with them yet. So there's lots in there about the parents' history, which would be very difficult for a child to hear. And to a certain extent, although it's written from the child's perspective, it's not necessarily shareable until they're much older. So my challenge for you would be to go out and get some sort of scrapbook, a pretty scrapbook that you can use with a child. Get together some resources that are quite tactile and build up your own story for the child, a bit like a lost and found story, and start putting together from the life story book that you've received and ideas from books like this, a simple, really simple understanding book for your child, where you write your own things in it, put your own pictures in it, and build up some things that are also child friendly. So you could just put some tactile pictures in them for them to touch. And we've used that before when we've passed things on to adopters, but you could use it once they're already with you. So that's my final tip for you, is your own tactile scrapbook, life story book, which represents a type of story like Lost and Found. Great to have you on my video. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because then you'll know that I'll bring out, when I bring out videos, and I tend to bring out 2 to 3 videos a week. And give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you on another video.